to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor, the day of vengeance of our God, and to comfort all who mourn, and to provide for those who grieve in Zion, and to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, instead of mourning, a garment of praise, instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord, for the display of His splendor. These are the words that Jesus quoted as in the book of Luke. The Bible says He went into all the towns of Galilee, all over the place. And this is one of the messages He gave. And He came to bind up the poor, or to encourage the poor, to bind up the brokenhearted, to release the captives from darkness, and those who mourn, those who grieve, and literally to bestow on people a crown of beauty instead of ashes, like to a fire. You know, Jesus came to do that. You know what He wants us, His followers, to do? The very same thing. The very same thing. You're beautiful. Let me hear you say it. 1, 2, 3. I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
You are the bride of Christ, right? The body of Jesus is the bride of Christ. Jesus, one day, the Bible says there's going to be a big supper in heaven. It's the marriage supper of the Lamb and the bride. All the people that Jesus bought back with His blood are going to come and be with Him. We are His bride. He is like the husband, right? Question, simple. What does a bride do? What's the heart of a bride? What's her dream? What's her hope? What's a bride's hope? To love her husband, to love Christ, to bear Him children. That's what a bride's heart is. She wants to bear her husband children, right? And then care for those children. Did you know what? That is pure and faultless religion. In the book of James, Brother James writes this. He says these words, and I love these words. They're one of my favorites. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless as this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. Brother James writes and says, this is pure and faultless religion. Man, it is pure to care for widows and to care for orphans. Listen to what it says, in their distress. Are there some orphans in distress who need our help? I think there are. Let's see if we can meet some of those children. This is Christina, Giovanni, and Walter. They were driven out of their dirt home into the streets by their drunken stepfather, who had done it many, many times. He would beat them. Sometimes the woman who lived there would not feed them. She punished them by not feeding them. She wouldn't let them bathe. But their father was the toughest. He would drink and get angry and throw them out. Finally, he threw them out into the streets and said, never get out of here, never come back. They were picked up by the police and taken to the National Hospital. This is Sandra. She lived in the same building where they lived. The father was not her father. The mother, who was so mean to the other kids, was her mother. Their father abused this girl every way that you can abuse a child. He did it, and also his brother. All this was discovered by some people who lived around, found out what was going on, and they called the police, and she was taken out of that home. This is Raina and Juanito. They lived with their father. They were very poor. They lived with their father and a woman. The woman was their stepmother. The woman had 4 other children. It was their job to take care of where they lived, to take care of the 4 children every day. Their father and the woman would go to work at about 7 in the morning and come back at 6 at night. It was their job to take care of the children, and when the parents, the adults got home, their job was to make sure that they had some food cooked and ready. And if it wasn't ready, then they got beat up. And they got beat up all the time because they were not able to get everything perfectly done as this woman wanted. So she beat them up all the time. This is little Joshua. He was in a city of about 350 million people with his sister, his brother, and his mother. And all of a sudden, his mother disappeared. She left him, abandoned in the streets. They were found by the police. The police took him to a judge. A judge put him in an orphanage. While they were in this orphanage, it was a big orphanage, about 130 children. An orphanage is a place where children go who have nowhere to live and no family who wants to take care of them or can. He was placed in there, and his sister was so bad, the orphanage sent her away. Then his brother was so bad, getting him influencing this young man to do bad, and they sent him away. So now you have an 8-year-old boy who's been left in the streets, who has lost his brother, lost his sister, and now nobody. And he is very, very angry. This is Lucretia and Elda. They came to our property. A woman brought them with the security police. The police brought them, and they were crying and screaming, and they called this woman mother. But finally, the police just said, we have to go, and they left these 2 children there. They were crying. They cried for quite a while. The woman who left, we found out that woman was not their mother. We don't know who she is. We don't know where their mother is. And they were very broken. We even found out just a few days ago, they're not even sisters. So they have no mother, no father, nobody knows them. They're not even sisters. They're all alone. They came to us. The question is, when you see children like that in need, Brother James writes and says this. He says that this is pure and faultless religion, to care for the widows and the fatherless in their distress, orphans in their distress, because they are in distress. What can be done? What can you do to help children in need like that? You know, this is a church that cares about missions because you support lots of missions, and that's fantastic. And that's what we should be doing. But for some of you, it may be time to go and do it yourself.
Amen.
What can be done? If you come to lunch, I'll tell you what you can do.